If you had to break it down, what are the three non negotiables of building wealth today?
So one would be start early.
Hmm.
And if you haven't started, start now. But
Hmm.
start. Okay. And if you don't know how to do it, start with an SIP in a hybrid fund. Hybrid means it's a little debt, little equity. And all mutual funds actually have that. And you have something called a dynamic asset allocation fund, which just mixes both in the proportion according to how the markets are doing. So if you need to, just start.
Hmm.
Okay. um, Second, get an advisor,
Okay.
but interview certain advisors, right? You'll have your friends who'll have advisors.
Hmm.
Talk to them, see who resonates with you, who you feel comfortable with.
And third.
And three, I would say educate yourself. We have, there are now many courses you can take, but there's one I know that I personally edited,
Okay.
called dspim.com /learn, or on our website in DSPIM. You can go to all our tools and you'll find it there. And it is actually just a series of videos. You can say I'm a beginner, you can say I'm intermediate, or I'm an advanced investor. And if you do the videos, you feel like a smart investor at the end, is what my friends have told me. And they've had their 14-year-old kids do it.
Hmm. Wow.
So, and the kids could do it. So I'm presuming it's not so tough. So why not start there? Learn to ask some educated questions. Don't just leave it. And
Hmm.
if you're a woman, I'm going beyond three, definitely manage your own money. Don't leave it to your brother and husband or father. Remember what I said about risk profiles? Theirs will be very different than yours.
Hmm.
So, why should they be managing your money in the way they would manage their own? Because yours is different. So, I would say discuss it, talk about it. No, there's no hiding this stuff, but do it yourself, get your own advisor, assess your own risk profile, and manage your money accordingly.
Interesting. For sure. I agree with all of them, truly. What is the right way that someone should think about asset allocation when it comes to building wealth? From real estate to gold to equity to debt.
So again, it depends, I hate to say it, but on your risk profile. The more risky you are, the more you'll take equity in your portfolio,
Okay.
the more sort of risk prone you are, which means your ability to take risk is very high,
Hmm.
your willingness to take risk is very high, and they both match, then you can take a high risk, which would be more equity. Why is equity considered risky? Because it goes up and down a lot, for
Hmm.
example, right? So in our world, anything that fluctuates a lot is called volatility. Someone will
Okay.
ask you, what's the vol? What's the vol? Even I learned all this. It means the volatility. When anything is very volatile, it means the risk is very high, right? That's one measurement of risk. The other measurement of risk is in fixed income. Even if you're going to get regular income,
Hmm.
if there's a chance of default, or this person is shaky and you're giving money to that person or that company, even if it's not volatile, it could become volatile if they default. And if the
Hmm.
probability of default is high, means their risk is high.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, similarly, if it's a bad company, even in real estate, if you invest too soon in a building that is not yet fully developed, there is a higher risk
Hmm.
than putting it in a building that is fully developed. But your returns are always higher when the risk is higher. Buy a building when the developer is just starting, he'll probably give you a better rate than when it's done.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If you put money in equity markets, because it's volatile, it has to pay you for that risk you've taken. So
Hmm.
the returns better be better than sitting in a bank. If you're going to give money to someone, to a corporate who is right now a bit shaky on its feet, the risk is high. So the return of the interest that guy is giving you better be very high. So I would say know your risk profile, and balance your equity, fixed income, real estate, and your gold in that way. Now, please remember another thing in real estate, or today it's very fancy to have private equity investments. All those are illiquid.
So, what would you say are illiquid investments?
Illiquid means you can't just go tomorrow and cash in and get your money. That was
Okay.
in our parlance what illiquid means. Liquid means tomorrow only you can go and, or in a few days you'll get your money back.
So, give me some example of illiquid assets.
Illiquid would be real estate. You can't tomorrow decide I want to sell my flat and in 3 days you get your money. That's not going to happen. So if there's an emergency, you have a problem. So you can't put all your money in illiquid assets. So please balance your liquid and illiquid. If you plan to have any illiquid assets, and you can only have illiquid assets when your risk profile is high, and your risk-taking ability is high, right? So for example, if I'm not as wealthy, I don't have enough money, my salary is low, I have 4 people to support, my risk-taking ability is low, I can't go buy a house because I'm tying up my money. Tying up means illiquid. So you need to balance those.
But in India, and I've seen this across the board, and it's even something that I've personally done, the first chunk of money that I saved, I invested in real estate.
But you can't call it invested.
Why?
Because you want to buy a house, right? That's for yourself. That's your consumption.
No, didn't buy a house. I bought an apartment as an investment.
Oh, okay. And then you rented it.
No, the building isn't ready yet.
Okay, but you will live in it eventually.
No, I'm going to rent it out eventually.
Okay, so here I want to tell you. So I want to talk to you about that. So if you're going to buy something as an investment like that, just remember, first you took a risk. The building isn't ready.
Yes.
If it gets ready, great.
Yes.
So on paper, your building, your now flat will have value. Okay. If you don't sell it, you'll rent it out. You have fees for the lawyers. You will have fees to the broker. You have to add all that in.
Of course. Yeah.
In your cost.
Yeah.
In your lower cost, you keep adding that in your cost. Then you will forget renovation or all you do, whether you own the flat or not, you would have to do that. Then you have to trust the tenant that comes. You have to find a tenant. What if you can't find a tenant that matches what you want? So it'll go empty for so long. Okay. After that, all the rental income comes, you pay full tax on it. Because it depends which jurisdiction you are in, because it's very different. And if you're an NRI, it's a good thing because then you can repatriate the money and things. So those are different reasons. But I'm saying it just for the regular person who would want to invest to get a flat. And are you ready for all that? So suddenly the tenant leaves midway. Then what do? Then you need to again find a new tenant. Then what if someone squats, doesn't want to leave? Then you need another lawsuit and more and just more tension, more anxiety and stress. Then you need to paint the house. Then the geyser breaks. Then he has a big party and trashes your house. I'm just saying that there are a lot of things that you will have to think of. So today people have something called REITs, where you have someone else managing it and you just take a share of it. So you don't have all of this to worry about and you just keep getting the cash flows from it and they keep paying dividends. So you can even invest in real estate through that. But remember again, dividend income and tax and the income you get from rentals are all taxed at your own tax rate, which is whatever, 20%, 30%, 40%, whatever it is in India. However, if you invest in a mutual fund, it will compound. You don't have to worry about any of this stuff, right? It'll keep compounding and only the amount you need to spend on something, you take only that much out and you pay tax only on that much. So your money is compounding without any tax coming in the middle of that. So these are reasons I tell people, please buy a house when you want to for yourself. Because we all are women. My husband actually was so into finance and my father, why do you need to buy a house? Just rent it. And they didn't realize I want the kitchen the way I want the kitchen. I wanted to look a certain way. I don't want someone else to have done my house. So then, it's tougher for men to realize, but women obviously want their own house. So I have my own house. But it's important that one realizes when to buy, when to rent, why to rent, and the benefits of renting versus just putting it in the market or buying a REIT.